tonight?
That's what I would agree.
Does that make sense with everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go right into it. Shannon, I think everything's in order in your notes.
Yeah, the things in the brackets are square brackets are the page numbers, and that's
Okay. Do you want me to share my screen, or would that be easier for everybody?
I think it'd be a good idea.
I think so too.
Do that.
there we go. All right, now.
Okay. I need to become a host.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Make co-host. You are co-host.
Co-host. All right. See if I could do something a little bit differently here.
Jen, you should be here. I'm clicking my pen.
Nix. One meeting. It was just that one meeting. I don't know what happened. All hell broke loose, and I was sweating. It was making me that crazy. I was sweating. Oh God,
I'm with you, Jen.
Are you?
Boy,
Yeah.
I'm with you, Jen. Boy, that annoying.
I am if somebody else does it. I didn't even know I was doing it.
And she did that to the solicitor. She quieted his hand, and I'm like, "You're doing it the whole meeting."
Yeah.
She starts to say, like, shh. I'm like, "Oh my God."
It's up there with knuckle cracking and
Yes.
gum
That's my
cracking,
thing.
and snapping and popping.
Mhm.
Yes, she hates it when I do that.
Ugh. Okay, John, I think you got it.
All right. Took a little while here, but
Yeah, but it worked.
I was trying to split the screen in Bluebeam, but I can't remember how to do it. So we'll just have to go old school and just separate the two documents. Okay, so on the left, I have Shannon's recommendations. And on the right, I've got the draft zoning ordinance. And wow, Shannon, you made this super easy for everybody.
Yes, you did.
Oh, thank you. Hopefully it's quickly we can go through it. So.
Okay, so the first thing out, item 2.2 carport, we took out or garage, but no definition for garage appears.
Yeah, I didn't see anything for garage.
Yeah, I didn't know what to put in there after I took out.
And that's not your fault, Virginia. I just mean that we should have a note in there for EPD that they need a definition for garage as well.
Okay. How do you want to handle that? Do you just want to communicate that with them, Virginia?
Yeah, I'll let them put in their standard unless somebody has a different choice.
No, I think that's fine.
Okay.
But does this refer to residential garage or is this a commercial garage? Do we need
Must
two
be
definitions?
okay, residential and commercial. You're right. Because we're talking residential with the carport. Okay.
Good point, John.
Okay. On page 8, we have the definition of granny flat.
Yeah, that's just a typo. It's not a
typo. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take care of that.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to move ahead to page 14. Item B should be numbered, not bullet point.
Oh, exactly, just like above. I'll take care of that.
And I just want to say to everybody at the outset here that I did go through it, but I'm not saying I didn't miss anything or there might be something, but and again, none of these are criticisms, Virginia. It's just things that pop.
I am not taking anything personal. This is a big document. I am thrilled that we're catching them because I've already been through and obviously missed these. Tattoo
Right.
parlor, yes, we took the definition out because I don't think we are allowing it for future. But we can't, obviously, anything that's there is grandfathered.
Yeah, I don't remember taking it out. We talked about it, but I don't remember striking it because we did say that we don't have any
Okay.
issues with the tattoo parlor as a group.
Right, so
In
you want
fact,
me to leave it in?
I would suggest leaving it in, at least we
Okay.
could define it.
No problem.
Should we add to that a parenthetical that it applies to, the definition applies to current non-conforming uses?
Yeah, because I think it's a good idea to do something like that, because otherwise it's kind of strange. I mean, if we're saying we say we're not going to have them, it either should not be there, in my opinion, or some disclaimer or something.
Good point.
And I apologize. I'm trying to open up the earlier materials and stuff. So did we get rid of it completely from all zoning? I don't remember us doing that.
I don't remember
Well,
it.
I
We had a
remember the
discussion on it, and we thought that as a group at that time that that those two business entities were fine, that they were extremely respectful of the town and the ordinances. We had no issue with them. You know, I have no opinion one way or the other.
Well,
I
we don't have a definition, for example, in my review or my memory of a landfill. And the reason we don't have a definition is that it is not a permitted use within the municipality, although it may be permitted somewhere else. I
Mhm.
don't think we have to include uses that we do not permit. But if we are going to put it in, I think we need to put a disclaimer.
I do not have the quick access to the different zoning districts. Shannon, do you have them handy?
Yeah, I do.
Are
I
you
have
taking
it.
a quick look to see if we have them, if we did remove them or if they're in any of the zones?
Well, they are not in the original document from February 14th. So, and this conversation's starting to come back now that
Okay,
I think that they were supposed to be in the town downtown mixed use. And I don't think we ever decided on 12B, which is the suburban center, but that might be another place. I don't want to see them throughout the borough, but the town downtown already has, I think, at least one down there.
at least two.
Yeah. I'll go with whatever, but I don't see them listed at all in the quick views.
Okay.
Well, and I hate to keep throwing in here, I'm not a member of the planning commission, but if you're the only township that puts it in or the only borough that puts it in, you're going to get them all.
Yep.
So leave it the way it is, but leave the definition with the caveat.
Well, it's a tough call because you're bringing up a good point, Mike, that, you know, I mean, body art has become a more normalized thing in our society these days, and a lot of people have them and are into it. I would like to at least offer the residents a place where they could go and have work done if they need it done. Why would they have to go anywhere else? If we could have a nice, safe place for them to go close to home, why not? If they're a safe business that, you know, provides that service.
John, I agree with you. If you're going to have it, you should certainly have it. I mean, if you're going to have it as a use, you should certainly define it.
Okay, so then we're kind of leaning towards put the definition back in and add it into town downtown.
That's the way I would lean into it. And the question then is, just so that we're not the only municipality that has that,
Yeah,
others.
I'm looking, John, I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm sorry. But I have this is from the county from March 1st. Now it's subject to change, but I had that comparison, and Dalton, Dunmore, Scranton, It's spelled wrong. So if you do a search for it, tattoo is spelled wrong in their list, but it's,
But it is
Virginia,
in a number of communities.
yeah, it
Virginia,
does appear to be Scranton, Waverly.
excuse me
Looks
for a
like,
second. Carol Rubel just sent an email or a few minutes ago that she was trying to get in, but doesn't appear that anybody's there. Can you let her in, Virginia?
I haven't seen her come up. Hang on, let me see.
Make sure she has tonight's meeting notes. I had
Yeah.
last time I
That's
Yeah.
probably what she's doing. She's probably using the wrong invitation. Shoot. Hang on a sec. I'll reply to her email. You guys go ahead and talk. I'll respond to her email.
Okay, thank you. No, she's using the one from today.
She is?
Yep,
All right, let me see if I can go back because she never popped up as somebody.
right.
Oh, hang on a second. I gotta go this way. Zoom. No, I want to go here. I'm gonna mute myself and I'm gonna work on this.
Okay, Virginia, maybe you could even call her on cell.
Don't have her cell number
Oh, no? Okay,
with me now.
okay, well. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but okay. So again, where are we leaving off here? Tattoo parlor. My thought is to keep it in as long as the other municipalities also have those in their town as well. Why not have it in ours? And Shannon, you were looking at the other members of SAPA to see if they're also allowing it.
yeah. And as of March 1st, Dalton, Dunmore, and Scranton all permit it.
Okay, so there are other places then. What would a negative consequence be to having a tattoo parlor? And I'm just trying to envision this.
I'll make a comment. I don't have anything against them. The only thing that stopped me for a second was when Mike said that, the possibility exists that if we're the only ones, I mean, I certainly would not want that. And that was just a matter, point of discussion. So if in fact we're not going to be the only one, I mean, I really don't, I mean, I wouldn't have a tattoo, if you bought it for me 9 times, but that's besides the point.
Right.
You go ahead, go for it if you want to go, I just didn't want to have, 18 motorcycles all over town constantly looking for tattoos, That's all I have to say about that.
Sure. No, I know some professional
know
people that have them, so it's.
Oh, absolutely. I think that gone are the days of it just being like biker things. I know so many people that have them. Women, it's just a real natural thing. But this is what my only concern is. Sometimes businesses go into business in the borough that I'm not aware of. Not everybody comes to the borough and says, can I have a business registration form and blah, blah, blah. They just move in. And I find out later, quite honestly. And it happens a lot. And not that this should sway the decision, but there are 2 tattoo shops, parlors, whatever you call them. One's right on State Street and one's on Depot Street. The one on Depot Street, I didn't know it had existed until I walked by it. So just throwing that out there as a concern, if somebody opened one and then I find out later about it and it's, well, you're not permitted. Well, there's 2 right there. I'm just, like I said, I'm just throwing it out there.
Okay. But
And I do think
that's true of any business though, Jen, or?
Sorry?
Is that true of any business? Like,
Essentially, yeah, but 99%, it's going to be a business that, we've just never had an issue where we've said you need to close down. It's never been like that. So, lucky or not, my concern was that having the two there, and also I think it's so much more acceptable now. Tattoos where they were once really, I don't know, there was just a stigma to them, very seedy kind of thing. And now it's just not like that anymore.
Yeah.
Just wanted to throw it out there. Doesn't mean it has to change anybody's decision, but it just kind of dawned on me.
right.
I'm a little confused though. Back to John's question, do we have that kind of problem with other businesses, small or otherwise? Or is it, that's, I don't understand that. I mean, do we or don't we?
And I'm sorry, I don't understand the question. Do we have that problem?
Well, the question is, your concern, and I'm sure it's, you
Carol?
feel very, hello.
Yes.
No, it's just Virginia. I'm talking,
Oh.
John. To
Oh,
Carol.
hang on. I'm sorry, I'll mute again. I unmuted. Carol, hang on a moment.
I'm sorry, John Kazista, I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, the question is, my concern kind of is the potential that there's other businesses that are kind of sneaking in or whatever. Is that?
I don't think it's intentional. I don't think anybody's sneaking in, but they just, they see that a storefront's open, like I just heard recently, like Duffy's was closed. I heard recently that the people are hearing there's some kind of movement going in there. I haven't been approached by anybody. People don't come to the borough office and say, I'm opening a business here. Is this permittable? Yada, yada, yada. We haven't had a problem yet with anything, but how do you tell people beforehand that don't know that they need to come to the borough and set up, a business registration with us? We have to find them as we go along.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay, so again, my suggestion is to not strike it, but to keep it and make sure that we're in our downtown use. I mean, certainly, we don't need to see it in a residential area, although that'd be tempting. It's almost like the folks that open up a beauty parlor in their basement. You could see that happen. So why not kind of steer or direct that as a true business and have it in our downtown area? Does that, everybody agree with me on that, or disagree?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm okay with it too.
Okay. All right, Virginia, I just said to hit or admit Carol. There's Carol. I asked her to unmute. She's talking, but we can't hear her.
I said, Virginia, I found a way to back in,
She's
so
in.
don't worry, I got in.
She's in. Carol's here. Yay.
And
Sorry,
Virginia-
guys, I apologize for my lateness.
Not a problem. Technical difficulties. We have them all the time.
I know, isn't that the truth?
How are you making out with Zoom in the classroom? You guys got
Good, and that's why I said to
Challenges or-
Virginia, yeah, I said, I use this every single day. So that's why I kind of backed in. So it's all working out okay. Our numbers are a little bit scary, as you could see in the paper this morning. We have 60 some cases and we have almost 80 kids in quarantine. So I don't know, but we're trying.
Understood. My daughter had a near scare down at Penn State, and her parents went to visit her, and so Joanne and I are kind of self-imposing our own little quarantine here.
Yep.
As of Sunday, we'll be out of it.
It's really, it's the only responsible thing you can do. I mean, I am teaching virtually this semester, so that's a good thing, but I still have to show up on campus to get tested periodically because they want to make sure that everybody who's walking around with a university ID is negative
It's the right thing to do.
That's right.
or
Yeah.
quarantined.
Okay, so we just finished with tattoo parlor. Right now it's struck, but we're going to unstrike it, and we're going to make sure that it's in our town downtown use. We're moving on to, and I'm sharing my screen, Carol. Can you see everything?
I see it. I'm good.
Okay, so
I'm good.
we have Shannon's notes on the left, and on the right is the actual draft ordinance.
Virginia,
So
you're
Carol is on here, huh?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. And I was trying to get you on. Good, I'm glad you're here.
All right, so 4.2 on page 31. And we need a citation.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't put that in before because we just updated our floodplain ordinance in August, so I can add that now.
Okay. Wait, Virginia, we're putting everything on your shoulders.
When it's just coming to the final edits, I've got everything organized. This is easy.
All right.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Virginia, I just felt like Virginia was doing something else when we made a decision on the tattoo parlors.
I
Or were
came
you-
back right at the very end. So you agreed to add it back into town downtown, and therefore the definition that was removed is being put back in. Am I correct?
That is correct.
That's right. Okay, very
Thank you,
good.
John. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Okay, page 36, 5.2 through 5.5.
I'll take care of those.
We need some references there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's my error. It should be 5.3, I believe. We're fine. It just, I have 5.2. It should be 5.3.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay. The numbers may have changed as well.
Yeah. Well, I had 5.2 starts on page 33. Okay.
Yeah, each document, the page has changed a little bit
Yeah,
as I added
yeah.
and subtracted.
Right.
Okay, page 37 and 38. Are these classes really used and resolved? So we were talking about the different classes of buffers, Class A buffer, Class B buffer. I don't think they are. I don't think we received a satisfactory
What
answer.
we were told was if you go back to the cheat sheets that we got, that on the back page, on the back side of those cheat sheets, we had each of the different classes.
Okay. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. I want to find those files. I just don't remember seeing them, Virginia.
And
Shannon,
I have it up if you want
Do
me
you?
to share. Yeah, I can.
Do I need to make you co-host?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
oops, I'm sorry. John, I would appreciate if you would take it back then, but I'll just temporarily
Sure.
share my screen here.
Okay.
Let's see here. Quick views. There, I think that's it. Yeah. Here, can everybody see that now?
Yes, I
Yes.
can.
Yes.
Okay. I'm just gonna zoom. I don't know if can you see, let's see here, annotate. I don't know if they're talking about this stuff right in here,
Yeah.
or if it's never been clear. And I know we talked about it a couple of times, and I don't think we've ever gotten, as John just said, a good satisfactory answer back from EPD.
Right. My interpretation of what I'm looking at, Shannon, are the minimum side yard or minimum yard setbacks.
Yeah.
Those letters. Now, if they're saying that those correspond to those buffer zones, then certainly it needs more scrutiny. But there's, Virginia, the response you had was on the back of these?
she said, yeah, because this is, wait a minute. Go to the next page, Shannon.
Right there.
Yeah, is where, I gotta move this, I'm sorry. There's nothing about buffer here.
Buffer,
Well, there's buffer right there,
yes.
Oh,
right here. Whoops.
okay, yeah,
Mhm.
so it does reference back to that chapter, but it doesn't tell you which class or anything. That didn't, so it doesn't help. I'm gonna have to get them to explain to me what they're trying to how they're trying to distinguish different buffers.
I
Yeah.
agree.
I'll try to get that for next week.
Okay. Do you want to take it back then, John? Or
I sure will.
okay.
Okay, so you have to stop sharing and then I'll take back.
Stop share. There we go.
Nice to see you, Carol.
Nice to see you too.
Just out of my own notification here. Let's see, town charts, did that come up? I don't know where I got these from, but they didn't print very well. Okay, never mind. Just stay where we're at. Okay, so again, we still need a more satisfactory answer on that.
Yep. John, I don't know if anybody else is having a problem with hearing you, but you're speaking very softly and everyone else seems louder to me, at least.
Can't hear me very well.
Yeah, I'm making out what you're saying, but just barely. But everyone else
Okay.
is,
Much quieter than everybody else.
I'm clear. It's loud here for me.
you can hear, everyone else can hear John, okay?
I can hear him all right.
Okay, must be me somehow, sorry.
I just don't want to end up wearing a puffy pirate shirt or anything like that. So if you remember the Seinfeld episode with the soft talker.
Yeah. How's this, Virginia? I turned my microphone up a little bit. Can you hear?
I
okay
can hear
now?
you better now.
That
Thank
is
you.
better. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
good, thanks. All right.
All right, so we just finished with the.
We're now at
I'm gonna have to
5.7.
start striking these off, so.
Okay,
All right, next item is on
41
page 41.
page. Yeah.
All right, so 5.7B. We're talking about the preserving existing vegetation.
right. Did we,
Yeah.
is there something underneath that? Yeah,
Correct.
okay, so I see what you're saying. Shannon, what you're saying when you say this ordinance permits an offsetting reduction of the pervious blah, 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 that paragraph, is that referring to what we crossed out?
No.
Oh.
And I wasn't trying to be impertinent here or anything, but when I like the spirit of the paragraph that we inserted at 42.
Yeah,
Some of the sentences there just didn't read as though the thoughts were completed. And I'm not trying to be critical, but it just didn't sound,
gotcha.
the spirit of it seemed to be okay, but it just, I think it was our notes and things thrown together with it, but it didn't seem to be a complete paragraph that kind of encompassed everything that we talked about. So I just took what was there and edited it a little bit to, in my opinion, make it a little more clear.
So your
somebody
verbiage is just a better, clearer explanation of what's in.
And it's
Perfect,
not
I
an
can just
attempt
cut.
yeah. It's
No, I
not
can
an
cut and
attempt-
paste it.
Yeah, it's not an attempt to supersede anything. It was just to take some of the things, I think, and make it a little more clear to somebody who's never seen this before.
Shannon, you need to stop apologizing.
Oh, okay. I apologize.
I was waiting for that.
one of the things that tipped me off here was that, and tipped was the word I just said, tipped me off here was a reduction of the impervious surface shall be permitted. I think that was somewhat confusing because we're not reducing the impervious surface. We're simply allowing an offset for the computation of that. And this
Gotcha.
uniquely applies to us. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think the other municipalities have this degree of impervious surface issues. Scranton will with their new stormwater related regulations. So I don't know what they're going to come up with.
Okay, great.
Shannon, can I ask a question on that?
Yeah.
And it really has to do with the implementation of the ordinance. I don't have any, John knows I don't have any engineering background, but it talks about planting 2 trees in your statement. Then it says for trees owned wholly by the lot owner.
Oh, that text there was so that people weren't double counting trees that are on a property line. And we have that here. We have trees literally that are on the property line. So somebody shouldn't be allowed to double count the trees. You see what I mean, Mike? That, and we could come up with other verbiage here. It was just an attempt to reduce that problem where, and I know our neighbors on the other side have the exact same issue. The trees literally.
Shannon, when I read that, and I'm trying not to be overly critical because it's really a judgment issue for the commission, it seems to me like you could plant a tree in somebody else's yard and get credit.
Well, that's not what it's intended to do. So
well, that could just be me too, though.
That's you, Mike. I understand now that when you read that out loud, I know exactly I understood what he was saying. He's just trying to, the only confusion is I think that we need to say wholly for the trunk, because obviously trees overhang properties.
Yeah.
So if the trunk is entirely on your property, you can count it, but if the trunk is, and maybe there's a better word than trunk, but you know, if the trunk is on a property line, it cannot be used.
Base of the tree, yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. Whatever
Okay.
You just have to do what I do with our neighbor's tree. I cut the limbs off that were hanging over my property line.
Well, that's
Well, you
true,
can do
but
that,
we don't
right?
want to
Yeah.
count it for double. We don't want you and the neighbors both counting the same tree. That's what Shannon's saying. And that's a good point.
Does that clarify your question there, Mike?
I don't know. I'd have to see it when it's written up again, but I will look it
Okay.
over for the
Okay.
next meeting with Virginia.
I'll have that out to you soon.
Okay, so we'll strike through that. Okay, page 43 through 45. This section needs to be marked for removal due to the anticipated adoption of a noise ordinance.
Yeah, this is that problem that that was introduced in this draft. This was not supposed to be in there at all, but EPD accidentally went back and put it back in. But section A, starting on 43 through section B, which is on page 45, that all should be struck. That was going to be replaced with a separate noise ordinance. Now, whether we want to keep C and D, which, you know, we could just keep those sections of this and they'd be renamed A and B then, or we could use an A, refer to the borough's noise ordinance, and then keep current C and D. I'm confusing it, but the point is that this really should all be taken out.
Right.
The other ordinance, do we have exemptions similar to this, or?
Yeah.
So.
Well, I don't know what they're going to come up with. I had sent a kind of a model ordinance, and yeah, the exceptions these are pretty standardized. You know, construction, borough vehicles, emergency vehicles, all that stuff are typically exempted from.
if this language is in the ordinance, then there's no reason to have it here. We should just refer to our ordinance.
They
Yeah,
cut and pasted our existing ordinance, but we're recommending to the solicitor that he update a new ordinance.
Yeah.
So this will no longer be, so that'll, if we remove it, when the document gets to council, if they add a new ordinance to it, or if they decide to run it under quality of life instead of zoning, this isn't going to be the one that they're going to be using. So that's why he's saying remove it.
Right.
And I believe that one of the reasons was the enforcement provision is much easier for the borough than
Correct.
it is enforcing a zoning ordinance.
Yeah.
Correct.
It doesn't belong here.
Right.
No, and it wasn't supposed to be here. We had gone back and forth with the EPD. At the last minute, they mistakenly put it back in by mistake, and that anyway.
Okay.
But I just saw that we didn't have any indication that this should be struck at all, and it should be. At least sections A and B currently should probably reference hopefully the pending noise ordinance.
I think this would go hand in hand with C. Vibration causes structure-borne noise.
Yeah,
And
the
finally
only one.
dust.
Yeah, D is the only one that might need to stay in there. I'm not commenting on that, but that's the only one that might need to stay in there. So there might be an A and B. A would refer to the noise ordinance, and what is currently D as in Delta would become B as in Bravo, dust, dirt, smoke, vapor, gas, and odor control.
Okay, so Virginia, could you make a note that vibration control also should be included with the noise ordinance,
Yep,
quality of life ordinance?
you got it.
And then this just simply becomes A.
Okay.
I don't, well, here I'm apologizing again, but I don't want to sound like I'm bragging, but I do have an article coming out about this topic. It's scheduled now for November, December to explain why this is an issue, because it's statewide. There are a lot of people have created these, I call them politely omnibus, noise things, and it's not exactly clear until you get to the enforcement and you find out, oh, that doesn't work.
Would you be able to share that article with us online, Shannon?
Yeah, I can't right now. It just went to the editor. The second round of edits went, and as soon as I get word that it's published, which probably won't be until the end of September, I'll get a copy out to everybody.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, 5.21 D9.
Oh, that's just a typo. I'll take care of it.
Okay. Okay, 5.21 E 13.
The reason why I raised this was section E, dealing with these wireless communications, is dealing with the design, construction, and operations. And this 13 originally required an inspection to be done, to make sure that it's compliant with whatever all regulations and everything. I didn't know why we removed this.
I'm pretty sure we removed it because we were allowing the FAA to control this. Was that the thought?
It comes down to the inspections. I mean, are we requiring inspection reports to be sent to the borough for the borough to examine? It doesn't make any sense. It's going to land on Jen's desk and she's going to be responsible for reviewing these inspections. I just don't see where these inspections, and I'm viewing them as construction inspections. So short of that, I can't see us really benefiting from performing them or reviewing the inspection reports. If there was something that, say, the FAA would want to see or have, maybe that's something we just want to see that they've been approved. But other than that, or PennDOT, you know, their aviation portion, but there's really nothing that should land on the borough's desk for us to make sure that the thing's been constructed.
Also, if it's going through a construction, if we're talking about during the construction phase, the building inspectors are going to be dealing with that, not us. I mean, if there's a repair needed in order to meet building code, they're going to have to do it, or they won't get their building permit approved, or they'll get a stop order.
Correct.
Yeah, so
Because these are all, and again, these are all construction related issues. You get into maintenance, soil reports, aviation safety, visual obstructions. These are all different issues that, well, visual obstruction, that is our concern because of motoring, but in the case of maintenance, soil reports, these are all things that deal with the actual construction. And I'm just not seeing inspections being part of the borough's responsibility.
I will be.
You're muted, Jen.
Sorry, I'll be right back. Thanks.
Okay.
okay.
So that's why we struck it.
Okay.
So I'll cross that one out. And then 14, we struck the word unused. You're thinking keeping unused because we didn't want them also storing spools of wires, you know, materials that maybe they're going to use in another cell site that, you know, say they're going to have and store temporarily another cell phone tower or micro tower.
Yeah.
We don't want them keeping the equipment and using this as a storage depot.
Yeah, and maybe I'm just being too persnickety here, but we don't define what equipment means. So when I think of, if I go and I do a wireless installation at somebody's, I'm installing the equipment. So if we're saying that you can't store the equipment, you know, if we remove unused here, the storage of equipment or supplies is prohibited on any WCF site. If you understand, you know, when I do a wireless or I do a network install and I install the switches and the, you know, I mean, that's the equipment. Well, if I can't store that equipment on the site, well, it's useless to me. So again, maybe I'm being too precise here, and I agree with you, John, that we don't want it to become a depot here, but I think we either need to define what equipment or supplies means or have some further explanation there.
Yeah.
Well,
That was just me, so.
Wouldn't the word storage be sufficient? I mean, if the equipment is part of the functionality of the machine, you're not storing it, you're using it. So the fact that we're using the word storage, it's almost like saying storage and unused is redundancy. Because you don't store stuff that you're using, it's part of it. I'm not storing my dishwasher in the kitchen. That dishwasher is a functional piece of equipment. That's my thought.
Yeah, and you got to be careful calling it temporary storage because you could temporarily store, again, another wireless communication facility equipment on the site until you use it. Might be months down the road, might be years. So we just don't want them using the site as a storage facility. If they keep parts inside, say in their structure, and they need relays and switches and that sort of thing and extra cabling, that's fine. But again, things sitting outside, we don't want that. That just becomes an attractive nuisance or a problem later on. I don't know if the word unused is the right word.
The words long-term have any effect here? I'm just groping here, but the long-term storage of whatever unused equipment or supplies is prohibited.
Then you have to define long-term.
Yeah, I realize that, but I just throw it out anyhow.
Right.
Here's the thing, this is only going to become relevant if we receive a complaint and we go and there's obviously stuff sitting around there.
Mhm.
So then we're going to say you're storing equipment. They're going to have to either move it or say we can't move it because it's a part of the functionality of the machine, and that would need to be proved. But until then, I mean, so obviously if they're putting tools in a closet, if they're putting extra wire somewhere, until and unless it's lying around invisible to the neighbors, nobody's going to know.
Okay, if everybody's,
Shannon, I think that one would probably default to normal and customary use. The term.
okay.
Okay, so we're going to keep as is. If that's a consensus.
Okay.
Okay. All right, page 78. AKL, okay. And suggest hours of operation no earlier than 7 a.m. and no later than 9 p.m.
Oh, instead of replacing the word limited to no earlier or later. That makes
Right,
sense because
right.
otherwise
Yeah.
we're telling them they have to be open from 7 to 9.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's a good change.
Yeah,
And
I
then,
like that.
and then likewise with 6.4
Right.
N2.
Right.
Okay. Good suggestion. Okay, 6.4 JJ 7 on page 89.
And I'll correct that.
Okay. And then you have meeting in item 20 requiring parking adequate for all vehicles serviced.
Yeah, these would be the conditional uses requirements for a vehicle repair and service business. So if it's in a district where it's a conditional use, I would suggest we really don't say anything about parking here. And I know from experience that there is a place down in Scranton where this is an issue. The garage is there, but literally they have no parking. So if people are bringing their vehicles in to get them repaired, they need to park them on the streets or park them there's another anyway. So
That's an
I just
excellent point.
suggest that it needs to be, if they're going to open it, they need to have parking on site for the vehicles that they're going to be repairing.
Our parking ordinance says so whatever size you are, this is how many parking spaces you have. But when you get into something like this, we've all seen, if you drive past Northeast Imports right by the insurance company, Flory Insurance, they are overloaded with cars 24/7. So this would give us control to make sure that they don't store, more than they can fit on their lot comfortably.
That's the problem with those foreign cars because they have to wait for parts.
Yeah.
Used to take our Volvo there. And it would take a week sometimes or more before they could get the parts in.
We have a guy in Falls here and he could take months on any vehicle. And so he always has a ton of them just sitting around.
As Shannon mentioned, one in Scranton. There's more than one in Scranton, believe me. There's
So
more.
I like that
South
suggestion. Yeah.
So I was just I didn't put any text in here, but I was just suggesting that that we have a blurb in there, maybe an item 20 that says that they need to provide on-site parking for all repaired vehicles.
Mike Cowley, maybe you could draft something and email it to me to plug in there and we can look at it next week when we meet.
Will do.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, very good. Got that one, we got that one. And then page 90, KK, all of KK?
No, it's item number, oh, I'm sorry, item number 9. The
9?
building height of a warehouse located within a, town
Oh,
downtown
okay.
district shall be, and I was suggesting maybe consistent with the building height of the adjacent lots, not compatible.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Mhm.
So a better word choice.
Yep.
Okay.
That one is MM.
And this one, this is one of my punts right here. I just wanted to make sure we kept both of these wireless sections in. I just wanted to make, I didn't go through and compare them one to one or anything like that, but I just thought it might be a good idea to make sure that they are consistent with each other.
Shannon and Virginia, were we going to delete 5.21 because we were just going to say any wireless communication facility would be a conditional use in any zoning district? It wouldn't be the principal permitted use.
That sounds familiar, but obviously I didn't take a careful note because I didn't delete it.
And because 5.21,
Yeah,
5, that's all.
Yeah, we had a couple discussions about this, and it did come down to whether the wireless communications tower, whether they were all going to be conditional uses. And I don't know if we ever resolved that completely.
My recollection is that we were, that was what it was coming down to at least.
Why don't I go and confirm that because we would have changed it on the chart of accounts, the cheat sheets. So I can go back to my cheat sheets and see what we have there and I'll give you input for next week.
I thought we took them out and they weren't going to be permitted. They'd all be conditional use and only in those zoning districts that we were talking about.
Right.
But that's my recollection. So I'm open to whatever the group wants to talk about.
John, I saw that you had up there my the Excel spreadsheet that had the chart of accounts.
I do.
Chart of account. Do you? Yeah. Let's see. Do we?
Oh, you even put them in order.
Yeah.
All right.
521. Now, see, we had we went through the document in 521 and edited each line.
I thought what we were doing was we were editing each line and then we realized, wait a minute, we're going through this whole thing again under section MM of Article 6. And we're saying, well, wait a minute, do we want this to be a principal permitted use? And we would just take those edits that we did and we would apply them to Article 6 and then delete Article 5.
Do you have the pages I sent out that showed the cheat sheets, what we, for each district, what we approved as primary and conditional and so forth, John? Or Shannon, do one of you have that handy? The edited one, not the original one.
I don't have the edited one. I have the original one.
Yeah, no, we went through and each district though. So John, do you have it?
I'm looking right now. Are they the ones you sent in July?
Yeah, it would have been back then. If not, yeah. It definitely wasn't in August.
I have them as individual sheets. I'll show you right now.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so
So we need to go to the, not the accessory uses, but the principal uses and see if we have any cell towers that aren't conditional.
Yeah, and it
And I
was,
didn't
yeah, and
clean
it
that up
was
when I sent
in
it.
town, downtown mixed use was the one that was problematic.
Okay, so that's the one we want to find.
Yeah,
Town,
or
downtown.
at least that one was problematic.
Do you remember the chart number?
13.
13.
13 town, downtown mixed use.
Sorry, Mary, there we go.
Okay, so it's only,
I don't even see it.
okay, so those are the principal uses.
We don't even have it in there anymore. We removed it. There it is as
Accessory use,
accessory P.
And I defer to Mike, but in my opinion, that, my personal opinion, that makes a difference because since it is a permitted use, then MM doesn't apply to it because that's for conditional uses, not for permitted uses. So as long as, I would argue that as long as there are permitted uses in there, then you need that section 5.21 as well.
So in that case, we would leave 521 in, but eliminate MM.
Well, not, we would need to check that and make sure it's not conditional uses, because I thought we had talked about that it was going to be in other zoning districts by conditional uses. So if we're saying that the only place that wireless communication towers are permitted is in the town, downtown mixed use, and that's a
Do you
permitted
guys-
use.
Do you guys want to let me research this and
Yeah.
email you
Yeah.
guys tomorrow, and then we'll talk
Yeah.
next week rather than all of us sitting on this?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I'll research
Let
what
me
my
just
notes.
let me just throw in here. I think that what happened, and I'd have to go back and look at my notes and also the case law, is that when we researched this, local zoning did have an impact on the placement of these
Yes.
towers. And as a result, we wanted to make sure that there was a review process in every district within the borough rather than leaving it potentially wide open.
Yeah.
That's what I recall.
And Mike, I agree with you. And there was a very recent case as
Mhm.
well that just came out in June or July of this year, I think it was, that indicated that while we were doing this discussion. So I'm just saying that I think that this is something, Virginia, you take care of it. Just see what you come up with there. And
Yeah, and then we can pick up this discussion next week.
yeah,
Virginia,
Good,
give me
okay.
a call on that because I do have some background information on it from that more recent case. And I
Okay.
think it was pretty well thought out what we went through at the time, but we had so many meetings.
I
it's
know.
hard to remember.
There's so much content. You can't remember it all.
if I'm not making anybody dizzy.
Hmm.
Okay, page 103 to 113. Note for EPD, the section was previously checked, but the typefaces here are wrong and inconsistent. There should be editable text done by EPD, not just images.
And that's on them. That's good.
yeah, that's just for them.
Okay.
Okay.
But we just had to remember to tell EPD to look at that
Right.
because they just dumped in whatever we gave them. And I don't
Right.
think that these are,
Well, I have a whole list for EPD of what changes are made or what they need to look at.
okay, great.
You went past page 142.
We passed 142, yeah.
Page numbers aren't consistent with the PDF page numbers, so I was trying to type in and anticipate where we needed to be.
Oh, yeah, no.
9.4B on page 142. I think the language may need reworking. Combination does not seem right. I think this is missing deemed. Question for Mike Colley.
I will look it over. I'm looking at I'm looking at an iPad screen. I need glasses and a magnifying glass to really give it a look. I'm not kidding you.
Okay, so you'll get back to us next week on this.
Well, Virginia, you'll probably be seeing me sometime early next week. Yep.
I'll suffer through it, Mike.
Yep, I know. Put on the coffee.
You got it.
Okay, page 158, 11.2. Is the zoning officer different from the code enforcement officer?
That's actually a good catch. The borough has a code enforcement officer. It's the same idea as the zoning officer, but the borough calls it a code enforcement officer. So we probably should make that consistent throughout.
And there is another place. I noted it here on page 57 and 58. We have two different terms. So
I'll correct it.
I would just suggest choosing one.
Agreed.
Well, yeah, code enforcement officer, right? Because that's what it is, right?
That's what ours is.
That's what our
Mhm.
John Kazista, you broke up. Could you repeat that?
Pardon?
You broke up. I didn't hear what you were saying.
Oh, I was just saying that we'd stick with code enforcement officer because that's what we have currently in our borough. Make
Yeah.
it consistent.
Okay. Is that everywhere?
No, a lot of places have zoning officers.
No,
I'm
no.
not sure.
But in our ordinance, it has to be consistent. How about in the enforcement section?
Oh, of our ordinances, I'll have to go and look. Well, this is going to be the ordinance.
I would just check it just to make sure we're using it consistently here.
Okay.
Is that something you could do, Virginia?
Yep.
Okay. All right.
You got it.
And that was all I had. The general items there, I just was noting things. They're probably more things for Borough Council itself as they're thinking about this stuff. The small livestock, that came up with some other work that I'm doing, not necessarily here in the borough, but we have a really strict exclusion of all livestock. And there are 4-H projects that include guinea pigs, things that are de minimis type stuff. So I don't want to open a can of worms. I think Borough Council can deal with that, but I just noted that maybe some broader thinking about nobody's going to open up a confinement cattle operation here in the borough, but there are some things that kids are doing 4-H projects. It's a valuable educational experience, and we're saying that they would be in violation of the zoning ordinance for doing something that does have merit.
Well, we had a house that had a turkey, and residents, the neighbors went nuts.
Yeah.
Right, Jen?
Yipper. But I got a picture of him.
Was it a pet or was it going to be
It was-
Thanksgiving dinner?
No,
I
I think
think it was. Yeah, the cat. They
Wow.
had a little chain around his ankle, so
Yeah.
he could go anywhere within reach of his chain. Lived outside, and when we told them they had to go, they removed him and put up a pool without a permit instead. They taught us.
Well, turkeys can't swim, so you may have dealt with both problems.
And according
No,
to
we had-
according to
Years ago, we had a wild
WKRP,
turkey in our backyard.
Oh, did you? Yeah. I see a lot of that on Facebook. A lot of people do the wild turkey thing. Yeah.
Shannon,
no,
they
this
may
one-
not be able to swim, but according to WKRP in Cincinnati, they can't fly either.
That is my favorite episode. I watch that every Thanksgiving.
Absolutely the best.
As
Les
God-
Nessman was
as God-
great.
Yeah, as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly. Oh, the
They have
humanity.
It was wonderful.
If any of you have never seen that, look up the clip WKRP turkey drop.
I
There-
did, and it
yeah,
must have been from one of you guys because I did look it up and I watched it. It was funny.
It's probably one of the fun, it's one of,
Mm.
in my opinion, one of the funniest moments in television history.
Yeah.
It was. It was definitely a good one.
So that's what I,
All right, guys. So we got through Shannon's notes. Is there anything else anybody can think of that we didn't cover tonight? I kind of went through briefly. I've got a lot on my plate right now, but I didn't see anything else.
and I would say the only thing that we had, and I don't want us to need to do this, but we've always been skirting around the cheat sheets and things like that. I've never seen, and this, I've never seen kind of a resolved copy of that. So I think we'll really have to pay attention to that when that comes back from EPD, because I don't, we've talked about it a number of times. We made changes, we've done a lot of things, but that's the only thing I haven't had an opportunity to go through.
Well, I did send them out in the format that they gave me to edit, which was an Excel spreadsheet. The cheat sheets, they have it in as a document that the Excel spreadsheet feeds. So that's where you edit it. So
Okay.
that's what I was working with. So I made the
Okay.
edits there. So when I send that back to EPD, they should be able to upload it and then
Okay.
send us documents that should reflect it.
Okay, good.
But I didn't
Good.
have the ability to do that.
Good. Just for completeness, I didn't look at that at all, but
Yeah. Well, I think we can have, will have no problem getting this stuff done and to you by the end of the week.
Okay.
So that everyone has it to look over before we meet next Wednesday. And if all said and done, next Wednesday with a few couple things that we need to talk about, we might be able to send a document to council. Well, send a document to council pending, well, do we want to review it when it comes back from EPD before we send it to council? No? Good.
I don't.
Good.
I think
I
think
EPD's responsibility is to incorporate our changes. So if we make a recommendation, with the changes, to EPD, the burden's
And
on them at that
basically
point.
giving them the document with the changes in
Yeah.
there. So they really shouldn't miss anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, as secretary for the code for the borough council, I'll be double checking it. All right. So then, yeah, next week we can make a motion to move this on.
I'll- Wow.
Awesome.
All right, so the cheat sheets themselves, so have we had, you're saying we have not had anything back on them?
No, what I'm saying, what you just, they gave me an Excel spreadsheet that listed everything based on the zone, the town, which zone it was.
Right.
And I made the edits, which are highlighted. So slide down there a little bit on that page. See how that's highlighted? School, public, I crossed it out. So that's the change we made on that. So we don't have the updated document with the change that Shannon was showing us the documents before, because I don't have control of that. I did this spreadsheet, they'll upload it and they'll be able to show us a document that will not include public school on that page.
Okay, will we have those available to us next week to make a recommendation, or
I sure as
Shannon?
heck can try.
do we want to review them before we send them to council?
Let me see if I can get them. I bet you I can do that. Because
Okay,
those that don't take any more work on my part. I'll send it to Carolyn tomorrow and ask her if she can upload it and give us a draft to look at.
okay,
Okay.
excellent. Again, smiling.
Does anybody else feel that sensation of we're almost done?
No,
Oh my God.
Been a long process, everyone.
Yeah.
But again,
well, I think on every level, it's been a learning experience.
Oh my gosh.
Certainly researching some of the legal issues and all the rest. I give you guys an awful lot of credit. I really do.
Well, I have to say, I have a whole lot better understanding of zoning now. This should be, any zoning officer should have to go through the document and draft it, and edit it before they get the job.
And we can't forget, even Eleanor has a better understanding of zoning.
That's true.
Does this is true? Yes, Bob. Absolutely. I'll fill her in on tonight. So
All right.
All right, so if that's it, we'll, I guess we'll adjourn for the evening, or,
And we'll see everybody next Wednesday. I'll send an
Next
invite out
Wednesday.
Tuesday or Wednesday morning, okay?
okay, very good, everyone. Thank you so
Okay,
much for your hard work.
Thanks,
Very well,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a
Good
great
night, all.
evening.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye all.